In this section, we're going to look at importing datasets with Python. And in this video, we're going to talk about setting up your Python data science toolkit with WinPython. So, if you're in Windows, like most people, the easiest way for you to get started with Python and data science is to install a package called WinPython. So let's first go into the WinPython homepage to understand what this is all about. So WinPython is the easiest way to run Python, Spider with other data science tools out of the box. And the best part is you can download it, unpackage it, and have Python running in no time. And so the benefit of this is if you're under a firewall or you have some insufficient privileges to install Python normally, then WinPython is a very good way for you to start using Python in a sort of self-contained way, right? So winpython.github.io is the sort of mainstay or the homepage of WinPython. And the first thing we need to look at is we should now always be on WinPython 3.7, which corresponds to Python version 3. There should be no discussion recently that would be confusing to you about whether you should use Python 2 or Python 3. Everybody should be on Python 3 because Python 2 is getting discontinued. And so if we look at here, we have recent releases. And the main point here is we want to get the WinPython version that corresponds to the Python version we want to use. If you're completely new to Python and data science, then the thing to do is to download 3.7.2 here with PS2, which is the PowerShell version of WinPython. So I'm going to click download here next to 64-bit because my machine is 64-bit. If you have a 32-bit machine, then do adjust accordingly. So here I land on SourceForge, which is a way for us to download this latest version. As you can see, it's quite large. So let's just basically download this. You can also see that this is the most downloads per week. And it's modified recently, so all good. So all we need to do is click this. And so while this is downloading in the background, let's go back to the WinPython page to understand why WinPython is so good for Python data science. So there are three advantages to using WinPython. So number one is it runs out of the box with any Windows machine with Windows 8 or above. You can only have 2 gigabytes of RAM and you'll be fine. Most computers nowadays have 2 gigabytes of RAM. If you're using Jupyter Notebook, which we will be going forward, you'll need a recent browser, which is fairly easy to get nowadays. You can install different versions of Python on different architectures, and they're self-contained, so you can install as many WinPython distributions as you want on the same machine. Now, you might wonder why this is required, and this is required when some of your colleagues may be on an older version of WinPython. So for example, they're on version Python 3.6, and you want to run something that they have produced. There's actually not a lot of differences between 3.6, 3.7, and 3.8, but just in case you run into an edge case like this, then you can simply download the relevant version of WinPython and run things from there. So in WinPython, there is what I find the most interesting is the WinPython PowerShell prompt, the icon on the right here. If you install it, you'll see it immediately. That basically gives you access to a Python command line in Windows. And that's where all the magic happens, right? You go in, you can run Python, you can run pip, you can run NumPy, you can run IPython, Jupyter, all that kind of stuff. Crucially, WinPython comes with NumPy, which is a fundamental package for scientific computing with Python. So what this does, if you can think about it, is just a very fast way for you to manipulate numbers. The next important one is matplotlib. And so matplotlib allows you to plot these pretty charts here, as you can see, whether it's a time series graph, whether it's a histogram, with some area charts or some 3D charts even. Matplotlib allows you to do this in Python. And the last one that is quite interesting is pandas. So pandas is a data analysis library, and it's basically like a user-friendly version and a data science-friendly version of NumPy. And then the last thing is Project Jupyter. Jupyter has Jupyter Notebook, which looks a bit like this. You'll see it later. And what it does, it means that you can use a web application to create and share documents that contain live code, equations, and visualizations alongside some narrative text. So it's very easy for you to both share code, its outputs, and some explanation, the same way that I'm sharing the accompanying code files of this course for you. So now that we've gone through all of the things that come well with WinPython, I'm sure your download has finished and you can go on ahead and install WinPython. After that, I'll see you in the Jupyter Notebook environment. And that's all there is to it. In the next video, we're going to look at reading files and creating data structures. I'll see you guys next time.